Good afternoon, everyone. Now we will begin the Dhamma discussion on the Nikini full moon celebration retreat. For some reason, I didn't receive any emails for this week, this month Dhamma discussion. But I have some questions sent by Western friend of mine, American friend of mine earlier, and I like to pick one question that might be helpful to us. Question is, do Buddhists believe do Buddhists try to convert people like other religions do? Do Buddhists try to convert people like other religions do? It's a good question. Answer can be a little tricky because when you look at the behavior of Buddhist and behavior of follower of other religions, outwardly appears to be the same. But in Buddhism, there is no something called conversion, meaning you are a Buddhist, I convert you to something else. You are a Christian, I convert you to a Buddhist. But when you look at the basic behavior of a Buddhist and basic behavior of a person of other religions, appears to be the same. Now, I'm a Buddhist, if you take it as a Buddhist, I will try to share something that I believe in is a good word, maybe. I try to get you to see what I see. But ehi passiko, come and see for yourself. I will come to you with a knife or sword or gun, and I will tell you to follow my religion. We don't do that. Buddhists would say, okay, this is what I know. I think this is beneficial to you if you understand the same thing. Therefore, I want to share it with you, hoping that you can also understand the same way that I see it. Because I know it is going to be beneficial to you. Meaning your life become better. For example, if you follow precepts, what we call guideline for a healthy life, for good life, are called precepts. These are the principles of a good person. If you follow these principles of a good person, there is an immediate benefit for you. So I sit down with you and I explain how following healthy principles or following good guidelines for your life to live correctly is going to be beneficial to you and you make your life easier and better. And I like to share it with you. Come and see for yourself. I can explain what I see, what I understand as a Buddhist, what I learned from the Buddha or the great teachers of the Dhamma. But I don't go to a country, a poor country, and trick them by giving them money or better life or a bicycle or some books for children and tell them to believe in what they believe in. That's not what we do. Most other religions that we know, we see that they collect a lot of money from wealthy countries and go to these smaller countries with people don't have too much income, and they use their money to make those people believe what those rich people believe, wealthy people believe. And that kind of conversion is there. And there's another conversion. I want you to marry a person in my religion. But you have to be converted to my religion because you marry my girl or my boy. And some of the religions plan it that way. If they are Hindu or Buddhist girls, they were forced to make plans for them to marry someone from some other religion. But after you marry that person, you are expected to believe what the person that you married is believing. That kind of conversion we would not do. Buddhists would never do. I would say if some of you know the modern science that is beneficial to people, and you find a country that scientific knowledge is not easily available in a country, and you use your funds to educate those people who do not have scientific knowledge that is beneficial to them. And then you can start a school or you can start a project to educate those people who don't have the knowledge of science, how things operate in physics, how things happen in chemistry, how things happen in any other technological language, the subject. So you can go to those people who are not knowledgeable about the modern scientific knowledge. You sincerely think these poor people would be beneficial by learning modern science that we didn't know before. After scientific research, we find out a lot of good things. About health, we learn about how things like irrigation work, how electricity work. Those are all very helpful knowledge for anyone. So, for example, if you learn that in medical health, medical science, if you know that certain fatty food-like things are harmful to your body and it could create heart attacks and obesity and other difficulties for you, and therefore it is best that you learn this basic knowledge that is discovered by modern scientists after many research. And that is different from going to a place and take a gun or knife or sword or something and tell them to believe in what you believe in. No, you just educate them. If that is acceptable, Buddhist way of educating people regarding some things that they don't know, but still if they know it, it is very beneficial to them to improve their quality of life. That is what Buddhists do. Quality of life can be many things, but comfort and joy that you experience in life, peace that you experience in life. Even when Buddha speak about economy, how young people can manage their money, work hard, and diligently engage in their livelihood, and then make money, and how to make it beneficial. For example, one time Buddha has said that 50% of what you earn should be invested, because next month, next year, your income is going to be much bigger. And then 25% that you have this month is also going to be much bigger in next month or in few months or few years. That means your quality of life, that means you have much amount of money, that your 25% that you use to consume in your daily life become bigger and better in the following years. And even in the following years, if you keep spending 50% of your money for investing, and then you become richer and richer. If you think that being rich increase your quality of life. So Buddha had taught some things like this for a young person, how to manage their earnings. And if a Buddhist would see that group of young people who are carelessly spending without thinking about the future, without making their future to be a better future, and then the Buddhists can sit down with those young people and teach them what they know about finance, investments, savings, and things like that. So if you think it is conversion, I don't think it is a conversion. It is making the knowledge available for them to better their lives here and now. You see this not in the next life. If you properly invest whatever the 50% that you earn, next few years, if you invested them correctly, you are going to be richer, there's no question. Your income is going to be better. And you can see it in a matter of months or in a matter of years, not after your death in the future lives. Everything that the Buddhists would share with other people are basically something that you can test and verify for yourself, and then you have the freedom to reject or accept. And I am not pushing you. The Buddhists are not pushing you to believe it and follow it. Simple example is Sila. Sila means increasing your ability to live without hurting the feelings of others, without harming environment, without taking the balance of certain environmental conditions. Harmony is very important, personal, social, and environmental. When Buddhists go and teach these things, those who learn also become richer and happier and safer. And those who live around them also become richer, happier, and safer. And how do you know? You follow the guidelines of precepts, guidelines of life. The same as teaching how to drive properly in road system, that there are many other vehicles going in different directions. So if you follow the guidelines, which is Sikkapada, we call it Buddhist precepts, same as Buddhist precepts, and then they are safer themselves and they safeguard others on the road. If you follow the guidelines suggested by the expert in using the public roads, but if you carelessly disregard those guidelines, which are called driving rules, they could easily hurt themselves and hurt others, and lose a lot of things. For example, lose your time, lose your energy, lose your money by recklessly driving on the road. And you not only use your own time and energy and money and other things, you make somebody else's time and money and energy also wasted. Then teaching driving guidelines to people, potential people who are drivers, it is a wonderful thing. It's not a conversion. It's a person who didn't know how to drive before. Now, after educating them, which is not a conversion, they learn how to drive better. And as a result, everything becomes smoother and everyone becomes safer and save money, energy, and time and other things for their own benefit, right? And so we don't think that if you teach driving rules to the potential driver who is a high school student who is going to drive in the next year or so, started driving, teaching how to drive properly, is not converting them from ignorant drivers to smarter drivers. It's not, we don't use the word conversion. We can use the word transform them from being unskillful in driving to be skillful in driving. So it's not a conversion, it is a transformation. Buddhism is exactly the same. Buddha has learned many subtle details that common people don't see. Common people then don't have any idea about. About what? Not about how to drive, but about how to live effectively. Same thing. How you drive effectively, how you live effectively. When you drive effectively, you safeguard yourself, you safeguard others, and make life easier and better for yourself and others. But learning the guidelines, principles of life, you live instead of driving, which is, driving is only very small amount of time in your life, but you live 25, 30, 40, 50, 100 years. That's a long time. But during that time, the amount of driving may be completely, if you live 75 years, you drive on only maybe out of that 75 years, you drive maybe 10, 15 years. Every other time, you are doing other things. Living with your family and raising kids and going to school and learning different subjects and going to work and create many things for the people in the world, like computers and these telephones and all the other equipments that people use to make their lives more efficient. So that is the same thing that teaching Dhamma to someone does. You don't push it. You don't push. If you make mistake in driving, you may be punished by the government or the law enforcement or something. But if you make mistakes in living, you may be punished by your ignorance or the not following the guidelines of life, that is Dharma, or even you may be punished by the law and other things. So why not, if I know some very important knowledge about how to live effectively and correctly to protect yourself and safeguard yourself, why shouldn't I share that with a larger amount of people without pushing it to them, but making that knowledge available to them? And that's what the Buddha did too. Buddha figured out a lot of things that people don't know about life. As a result of not having knowledge about those things, people suffer so much. And the Buddha see, as a compassionate person, if I share this with all these people, if possible, they can better their lives. And that's what I'm going to do. And Buddha follows it. And he go from house, village to village, and city to city, or country to country, and share that knowledge that is very helpful to those people in living effectively. In terms of Buddhism, living effectively is even include what's going to happen to you after you die. Buddha had a much better span. Everyone, Buddha had seen very clearly, everyone who dies, human or animal or any other species of being, like divine or celestial beings or hungry ghost or hell beings, everyone who dies is going to be reborn. And everyone who is going to be reborn, they are going to have life in that new rebirth according to what you have accumulated in this life. Buddha has seen that. And he has directly seen it for himself, not like it's a guesswork, because Buddha had developed some tools that ordinary eye cannot see, ordinary mind cannot see, ordinary ear cannot hear. Buddha had developed those tools. Using those tools, like tools that you use in the lab, your naked eye cannot see very subtle atom or half an atom or little thing, but under the microscope, you can see those things, and you can see the behavior of these subtle things, and how those little viruses and germs can affect your health, and how important it is to not to be connected to physically for those viruses and bacteria and germs. There are some may be helpful, some may not be very helpful. Not only not helpful, some viruses may be very harmful, deadly. So just like that, you see things in science that normally we don't see, like telescope is a tool, and camera is a tool, and television is a tool, and telephone is a tool, and there are many tools that help us to get things done, come to know things that we don't normally know. Buddha had the same things. Those could be personal tools, but he taught, these are my tools, clairvoyance or divine eye or divine ear, and ability to fly through the sky and appear at some 1,000 miles from here in a matter of seconds. Those skills can be developed by anyone who put time. For example, once Americans can develop a telescope that is very useful to find out things that we don't normally see in the far space or the distance. That tool cannot be multiplied in Russia and India and China and Europe and other countries. They can reproduce. The Buddha's tools that he developed, psychic tools, also can be reproduced. It can be multiplied into thousands of people who put together the necessary parts that generate that tool. Psychic tools are exactly the same. Certain techniques that a person use can develop a tool. Just like some group of scientists work hard and put together a telescope, and just like the telescope that was developed in some other lab 300 miles away, 400 miles away. Now this new group of scientists are developing the same telescope and same microscope, and they can even multiply. And if this is a not expensive process, you can share it into many universities and share it with many universities and many high schools and colleges. And psychic powers is exactly the same thing. So using these tools, Buddha has seen that people die and reborn. When they are reborn, they reborn in a place and in conditions that is most fitting to the lifestyle that the person who died live in this present life. And then why cannot he teach that? If you don't live a efficient, good life, you are not going to have an efficient, good life after your death. that means you are going to experience a lot of problems even in the next life, just like you are experiencing this life. Even simple things like hunger and not having home to live, the homelessness, they are created by cause and effect. Just like in the science, you find anything that you find, those findings are causally conditioned. When right causes and conditions put together, they can create a right effect. All those tools and even airplane or vehicle or any other things that they make their lives easier and better, they are causally conditioned. And Buddha has seen that same causality is determine what you have, what you get later in this in next life. If you create very sharp lenses when you are developing this telescope, you see far. If you don't have this good, well developed lenses to put this telescope, you don't see that clearly. Cause and effect. And why, if the Buddhists know that this is not, cause and effect is not only a principle in chemistry and physics and geography and technology and medicine and all the other things, it is also same as life in general. So if you live this kind of life, you get this kind of life after or in the future. Now, even in this life, you might see it. So forget the past, future life, but you can see if you don't study properly and if you are careless in learning, and you are not going to be a successful person in the future in that particular field. But if you learn something else, like a business, or following your father who is doing business, watching him, you learn, then you become a businessman, of course, you become a successful businessman. That is correct. But cause and effect does not change. The cause was you learn from your father, who is a very good, successful businessman, and you become a businessman, and you become a successful businessman. You don't have to study physics or chemistry or anything else to be successful, to be wealthy. But you may not produce the same wonderful creations that other people do. But as a businessman, you may be able to fund those wonderful medicines that we generate, wonderful technology that we generate. That's cause and effect also. So Buddhists, when they try to share their knowledge with others, the word conversion cannot be used, because we don't use any force, and we don't expect them to blindly believe and follow what we teach, what we do. But we teach them, okay, you see for yourself, and if you see that this particular behavior is beneficial, this particular behavior is harmful and unbeneficial, then you follow it. And naturally, I don't even have to say you follow it. he will follow it naturally. I don't have to, as a Buddhist, I don't have to say, you see this, and if you see this, you follow. No, I don't have to say it. If they see that it is harmful to them, it is very dangerous, their behavior, and they don't do it unless they are very ignorant. And then Buddhists would say, we have to eliminate our ignorance. And this is how you eliminate ignorance, by learning more, acquiring more knowledge and wisdom. You become free from ignorance. We also say that. Buddhists also say that. Buddhists also give them guidelines how to improve your ignorance. Listen to Dhamma, learn sciences, go to school and read books, and basic guidelines in Buddhism is accumulation of knowledge, learning new subjects, learning new sciences is a must for Buddhists. And Buddhists learn this and they see how their own life is improved, and out of compassion, out of kindness, they should share that knowledge with others. Sometimes for selfish reason, you can teach them. What is the selfish reason? If your neighbors are becoming good people who don't steal, who don't kill, who don't lie to you, who don't get drunk and drive all over the road, and you are safe, and your children are safe, your wife is safe, your family is safe. And because of that reason, you go out and teach them how to be good people, how to practice sila. Why? I don't want to be around all these people who make too many mistakes. If they make too many mistakes, I'm going to be suffering. So I don't want to suffer. That's a selfish reason. But the same person who is a Buddhist expand their thinking, that selfish reason disappear. You teach the other people out of kindness and compassion for their safety, not my safety. So I'm sharing the knowledge of the Dhamma with others to safeguard themselves, to bring them quality for their lives. So this is not something that I'm trying to convert them to something that they are not. That's different. And aggressiveness in teaching is not in Buddhism. You see, in some religions and some religious leaders are pretty aggressive in pushing their views. Views means what I see. What I see is right, I want you to follow. But in Buddhism, what I see that is beneficial to me, I follow. Right? So sometimes you can see certain teachers not too compassionate in sharing their views. View is a personal thing. Knowledge and wisdom is a general thing that anybody can see. So I'm pushing a view that may be proselytization in being converting. I'm trying to convert you to follow my view. But I'm making some knowledge available to you with compassion. The Buddhist sharing of knowledge is 100% supposed to be based on compassion and caring for others who are supposed to be learning the Dhamma. The Dhamma means your knowledge that you have about the conditions of life, how to live effectively. So you see that the conversion is not a good word in Buddhist practice of sharing knowledge with others compared to other religions and other techniques that you use. Buddhists are not supposed to use some of the techniques. You do not force. Buddha never forced to believe. He doesn't go from village to village and push them to believe what he's teaching, what he has found. He just compassionately share it with them, and they teach it. Buddha teach it. Buddhists teach it, step by step. First thing first. Only if you learn the first thing that you are prepared to learn the second thing. And then if you learn the first thing, oh, I see. Second thing, I see. Third thing, after you learn the second thing, you see the third thing. It's like climbing the steps. When you climb more and more steps, you see things that you didn't see before. If you climb to a very high mountain, you can see far away, 100 miles away, what is there. If the certain building is there far away, you can see after you climb the steps that you didn't see when you are in the bottom of the mountain. So the Buddhist method of teaching is gradually helping you to increase your vision, your ability to see, and as a result, you or yourself develop the interest of learning more and following more. That interest is coming from within, not because you are afraid of the sword. So now I think we covered enough for that question. Do Buddhists try to convert people like other religions do? Answer, no. So thank you very much. And now this is the time, our time for discussion is finished. From a discussion, now we have to sit for a few minutes. And if you want to take a short break, you can take a short break, but I'll be sitting here trying to be peaceful. If you want to join now, you can join, but if you want to go to restroom and come and sit again, and I'll start in 5 minutes. Okay, we have about 20 minutes to sit quietly. In the morning, we did Anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing in and breathing out, mindfulness of inhalation and exhalation. That means mindfulness, if I explain it this way, mind works frame by frame, like in the movie reels those days. Nowadays we don't have movie reels, but you have seen a movie reel, or at least you have seen a picture of a movie reel. That movie reel, if you look at it, it's frame by frame, frame by frame. Our ordinary mind is constantly running so fast. Every frame is different, from the first one to the second one to the third one. But when we become mindful, our mind also, just like regular time, when you are not meditating, when you are trying to practice mindfulness, it's like that movie reel. But in the movie reel, it may be pretty close to each other, the same frame, but not guarantee that way. But in our mind, that reel, every second is a different frame. First frame is sitting here. Second frame is in your kitchen, thinking of a cup of tea. Next frame, maybe you are thinking of having someone else to have a cup of tea. Next frame, totally different from something, where the tea that you're going to drink is coming from China or Sri Lanka or India or someplace. All these frames in your mind is so different when you are not mindful. But when you are mindful, every frame is at least similar. When you are extremely mindful, every mental frame is exactly the same. Unless you want to move your camera to another different angle. That camera is your own mind I'm talking about. Huh? If you want to move that camera to another angle, then your frames will be different. For example, if I'm breathing in and breathing out, I'm focusing on that. Then the frames are same. Then suddenly, if the mosquito is biting your arm or something, your camera, you turn to that side, and then you feel the pain of being bitten by this mosquito. And it's a different frame. But in mindfulness meditation practice, we are learning to focus our camera to different angles related to your body and related to your body, mind. Only that. camera would not go away from your body and mind. Not going 1,000 miles away in a tea state in China or Sri Lanka that you're thinking of drinking tea. You see the mosquito bite and you focus your camera. That is the mind. And see the pain as it is happening. But you are not moving. You are not going to smash the mosquito, because we want to see what is happening in our body and mind. When the mosquito is biting, my hand feel pain. That's what I want to know. So I see that. If you have a back pain, you focus your camera to the back pain and you keep shooting that incident. And all of a sudden you find out that back pain is gone, it is not there anymore. It's gone. And you learn something. What do you learn? Things that arise like a pain is going to go away, arise and pass away. And you come back to your breath and you see your breathing in is changing into breathing out. Arise and pass away. And then all of a sudden, another mosquito can come and start biting while you are trying to breathe mindfully. And then you see your anger is coming up. You focus your camera to your anger that is coming up in your mind against the little insect called mosquito. You feel like smashing them. You are so angry because they are creating pain in your body. And you see that. And after a while, if you keep watching the anger, you find out that it's also disappeared. Anger arose, stayed for a while, and disappeared. And you want to have a little scratch on your head, and your teacher has told you don't scratch, but watch the itchiness and don't try to scratch, just watch it. And then you also find out, even you scratch it or not, that won't last too long. When it started, the itchiness, you really wanted to scratch, move your arm towards your forehead and scratch, but you don't. This is a practice of Vipassana meditation. And after a while, you might start thinking of person of opposite sex that you are interested in, your wife, or your girlfriend, your husband, your boyfriend, all of a sudden come to your mind. And maybe you might start thinking that you have to go to a dinner, change it to something else. Then you might think of coming back home and having a nice time together. Those are sensuality, lust. Lustful thought arose in your mind. But you are sitting here and trying to focus on your breath. Some lustful thought arose. And if you let it continue, it might end up in a very unpredictable place. Daydreaming. But you watch the progress of your lustful thought, and while you are watching it mindfully, it may not go far. It will change to something else. And some other emotions arise. Jealousy. You are jealous about someone who is trying to get close to your husband or close to your wife, and jealousy, and anger arise, and you watch. You mindfully watch anger and jealousy and hatred and anger. Now this is Chittanupassana, watching your own mind, meaning emotions. Mind cannot be separated from emotions. Wholesome emotions, unwholesome emotions, many emotions. They arise in your mind. And you watch and you learn about the patterns of your mind. Constantly arising pains, constantly arising emotions, and constantly change them to something else. Nothing is permanent. Everything is subject to change. These things you will begin to see. And you see, you got angry because your mind was paying attention to something that causes your anger. Something causes your lust. Something else cause you to be jealous. So you can see the cause and effect relationship of all these things arise in your body and in your mind. For example, body, while you are trying to sit and focus on your breath, you may feel a back pain or something. You may feel a desire to scratch. You may hear the air is growling in your stomach. All these are related to the body. Then you started watching later all the emotions. Chittanupassana. While you are watching, you begin to see after a while, not at once, who is getting angry. Am I getting angry or anger is coming up as a result of something else, as causally conditioned? Anger came up, that I didn't plan to be angry. That means I was not involved. Pain arose. I didn't cause the pain. Felt the pain, felt the emotion. Did I feel it? No. Emotion was felt. There was no me feeling the emotion. That just emotion arose. Pain arose. I didn't create the growling in your stomach after lunch. It happened. I didn't do it. When you see this continuously for a month and 2 and 3 months, 4 months, you become totally convinced that there's no person called I or me that is breathing, that is feeling the pain. I just feel it. Not I just feel it, the pain felt. Jealousy arose, anger arose. I didn't create it. This is how, once you keep practicing this meditation for a long time, you become 100% convinced that behind these emotions and pains and all the other things that I think I do, there's no I to do this. It happens. How does it happen? Causally conditioned. I didn't think. That's how a person who practice mindful meditation end up 100% convinced that there's no such a being called I or me. No atta, no person inside me. All process, continuous process of happenings. I didn't do, I don't do. It happens. So you see anatta. And this constantly occurring and disappearing things come and go, come and go, come and go. This is so frustrating. Create frustration. That frustration is called suffering. I don't want this to happen. It comes, but it is there. Without my control, all these things are happening. There's no atta, but all things that are happening is impermanent, showing me impermanence. All things are happening randomly, without no control from my side, because there's no I to control. All this time I thought I control everything. But now you begin to see, no, there's no control over anything. I cannot control my aging. I cannot control my wrinkles that is occurring in my skin. This is so scary because you have no control, meaning pretty scary. If you are driving a car and the car is running so fast and you have no control over the brake, or you don't have a brake, you don't have a steering, and is that pretty scary? That's scary. That is what the Buddha called dukkha. Now what do you want? Get out of this car that you have no control over. That is life. Your car is your life. I want to stop this life. Only one way to stop life is to stop birth. If you want to stop birth, you want to stop death. This is how Buddha saw it. If you are still thinking in terms of I, that means I am going to die. If I don't have I concept in me, I would not die. So what do we want to get at? To see the absence of I, me, mine. Thinking it's an illusion. You saw it during the mindfulness meditation, how this illusion is created. When you understand clearly anicca, impermanence, fear, dukkha, anatta, no person. When these three are occurring, in your mind, you don't have any desire to hold on to things that are constantly changing, that has no self, no person in, and everything is so scary and fearful and nothing to hold on to. Then you become free from attachment. You are not holding on to nothing. At that time you become free from suffering. When you keep practicing this for a month, 2, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, everything becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. And finally you become completely free from all attachment that create all suffering. You go to a meditation center and sit in 10 days, continuously, day and night. If you effectively and correctly do this, you are coming out of the 10-day retreat with the changed person, because you have much more knowledge than you didn't have before. But if you continue to practice this meditation, then some people find out it's so difficult for me to spend time and energy for this important practice because I am so stuck with so many things in my family and my job and all that. At that point, you might start thinking, if I become a monk or nun, I can use the full time to understand this. Instead of in 10 years, I can understand in 2 years or 3 years. You are free from suffering in this life itself. Okay, that's the conclusion of this meditation session. Now the time is over, and please take a short break, and in 10 or 15 minutes we make the offerings to the Buddha evening offering, evening Buddha Puja around 4 o'clock, and then today we recite great blessing Mahapirita, that is Mangala, Karaniya, Metta and Karaniya suttas, plus we might add some other short sutras to bring you safety and good health and prosperity. Okay, thank you very much, and may you be happy and well, and may your mindfulness grow and become less and less attached to this world. Lessening attachment is increasing your comfort. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, we will discontinue the streaming for 15 minutes, and then we come back and do the Buddha Puja.